Hello, 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 and how is everyone? I hope everybody's doing well. I've got a really short, sweet quote today, but I think it's in a sense more important, or the reason I selected it is because of the person from whom I got it, or who said it originally. I didn't personally get it from her, by the way. But anyway, the quote is, "Growth and comfort will never coexist." Short, sweet, very easily memorable. But this came from Ginny, I guess, Rometty. And that name might not mean anything to you, but she was the first female CEO of IBM. So I found it kind of interesting to think in terms that we've got a woman who managed to get to be CEO of, I think that most people would say IBM is predominantly a male company, or at least when you think of IBM, you think of men running it. And so for someone to get to be the first female CEO and to have a quote like that, I think says a lot, because to me, it indicates that she opted for growth as opposed to comfort in order to get where she wanted to be. Now, I know that comfort's really comfortable. What else can I say? It's nice to have. It's more familiar. But the thing about it is if we want to get to where we want to be, if we want to be the best at whatever, whether it's that to be the best parent, whether it be to the best employee, whether to be the best of yourself, I don't think you can do that and be comfortable. Now, some of you may want to disagree with me because maybe you'll be perfectly happy where you are and say, I'm fine where I am. But the thing about it is based on, and I've got a few gray hairs to prove it, over my years of living, it doesn't stay that way. You may go through a period of time in which you're comfortable, in which you think you're in great shape. You've got a good salary, you've got things are going well, or whatever you're looking at by whatever your criteria is, but it's not going to stay. Something's going to happen. I happened to read a little blurb today about somebody found a letter from somebody who had survived a very early hurricane, like 1868 or something like that, in Tampa, that they didn't even know existed. They knew the storm went through, but they didn't know the letter existed. And it was just talking about how it just sort of wiped everything out. So, considering that point in time, this was from a person who obviously could write at that point. This was, at the time roughly of the Civil War. And so somebody was able to write and had some things apparently to be able to build a house and send to money and things like that to other people, and then got completely wiped out. So he had the skills and he had the ability to write the letter. He had the skills to write, that is. But things changed for him drastically. He thought he was in great shape, literally in Florida, in a small community, doing really well, had a family, children, and was perfectly happy, apparently, based on the content of the letter. And then in one day, everything got wiped out. For the people who were recently in Adalia, things changed drastically. For the people who may be going through and have some problems with Hurricane Lee, that could be, things are going to change drastically there. It's not going to take much. So that we think in terms that when you get to the point that things change, and then it's like, now what do I do? You get so uncomfortable with the new status that who knows what you do. So I'm suggesting that maybe we need to start thinking in terms of how much our comfort's important to us and whether it's important enough to just maintain the status quo. Because if you do that, then something's going to happen and you're going to run into trouble later at some point. I can just about guarantee it. What do you do? My suggestion at this point is, depending on where you want to go, to think in terms of what your goals are and to do things in relatively small increments and set up a set of a goal and basically bring your growth under your control. In other words, make plans for the changes you're going to make. Understand that you're going to go through difficulties. For example, those of you who are going through school, you know that it's not going to be easy. So you're going to plan your schedule in such a way that you've got several things under control as far as what you're going to do is with each class, or as much as you can do for each term. It's not like you're doing everything and changing everything all at once. So you're just going to make some of those plans depending on what works out for you. So maybe you've got to go and you maybe have to take English, you maybe have to take a math class, maybe you have to take a science class or some such thing like that. And one of those or all of those are going to be difficult for you. Space them out as much as you possibly can. Put them in a framework in which you can take your hardest courses at a time when other things are going to be relatively easy for you. So in other words, make that growth and create a plan that it comes more or less at your selection and not just sort of haphazardly. because that's when things get to be difficult. So if you just say things and, okay, I'm just going to say things the way they are, and I'll just take things as they come, you could have some highs and lows at that are going to be really, really difficult. You'll probably still succeed or get through those lows. But wouldn't it be better for you to, in a sense, make the plan and set those goals for you deliberately to do something about it? When I think we do things for, like, say, losing weight or stopping smoking or whatever, stop drinking or whatever, a lot of things that you'll hear, especially when we get to the New Year's resolutions time, people say that I'm going to lose 50 pounds or whatever. They talk about doing it, in a sense, the way they talk about doing it. I guess I'm making a generalization here, but from what I've seen is most of them say, in a sense, like everything all at once. I see very few people do it in planned increments, which is probably why most of those New Year's resolutions don't even last for 3 weeks if they last that long. So make it a planned increment, okay? And I hear the dog, so this is probably a good time to stop right now. I hope this makes sense. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know and share this with somebody if you think it would be beneficial to them. So we'll chat with you later. Bye.